What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and we need to talk about Aterian Inc., ticker symbol ATER, because this stock just blew up today, and it's actually been blowing up over the past couple of days. But you can see that we're up over 45% today alone. Massive gains on the day. And to just give you guys some scope for what's been going on with this thing was down at $3 about 2 weeks ago, and now we're at $17.65. This stock has absolutely been blowing up, and this is because of a massive short squeeze that's underway. And it looks like today the actual squeezing portion of that is finally starting to pay off, and this thing is just shooting up like a rocket. Now, there are some things to worry about with this stock, but there are also a lot of upsides and potential benefits that we are going to be looking at. So first of all, we're going to take a look at Ortex and look at the current short interest percent of the free float. So it's about 53%. And I do want to point out this graph right here. This yellow line is the estimated short interest of the free float. So you can see that just recently, when this thing was around $3, $4, $5, $6, the short interest really shot up to massive levels. And you can actually see just yesterday really started tanking down. And this is likely because a lot of shorts are getting very nervous and have started to cover their positions. But you can see there's still a massive current short percentage of the free float, over 50%. That's absolutely insane. And even today, it looks like some of the shorts were getting back in for some reason, right? Trying to push this thing down probably in a panic, right? To save their positions, because this has increased by about 4% just today. So that's what Ortex has for us, and this is very enticing, right? Because when we look for these short squeezes, we like to see things over 20%, and even 20% is a massive amount, but over 50% is absolutely crazy, and that's really why we're starting to shoot up about 40%, today, and could potentially be doing that over the next couple of days if shorts keep being afraid. And if we end today very high, that would be very good for keeping those shorts afraid and kind of forcing them to squeeze. But what's very compelling that I found about ATER is actually in Google Trends. You can see ATER is this yellow line down here, and BBIG is the blue line, and SPRT is the red line. Now, these are all popular squeeze stocks that have been kind of going off over the past couple of weeks. Now, what's really interesting is this is a weekly chart, right? So you can see over the past 7 days, this is their search volume on Google. And ATER was always below SPRT and BBIG. I know those are other popular stocks you guys probably heard of. However, just today, ATER started exploding and looks like it's on a massive uptrend search result wise. Now, this is probably just the beginning. My expectation is that this thing keeps shooting up and more people hear about it. And the reason I think this is going to be the case is because I don't think ATER has actually entered some key communities, specifically Reddit and Wall Street Bets, as prevalently as these other two stocks. And I think that once it does, it could really start gaining some traction on the internet, because those communities, or that community really, is really great at publicizing these short squeezes and getting people involved. Now, the reason I don't think it's too prevalent on Reddit and Wall Street Bets is because if you actually look at Ape Wisdom, this is a site that tracks how often certain tickers are mentioned on Reddit and Wall Street Bets. You actually have to scroll all the way down to the 29th place to look at Aterian, ticker symbol ATER, and you see that it's only been mentioned 18 times and only has 44 upvotes, right? And this is tracking supposedly all of Reddit and Wall Street Bets. So there are a bunch of stocks above this that are being mentioned quite a bit more than ATER. So I really think that there is some room to grow on this one, and we could really see a massive squeeze if this stock enters those communities and gets a lot of traction there. So looking at the chart, there are obviously going to be some technical levels that we're going to be looking at, because this thing could turn around at some certain key points, especially zooming out over the past year. You can see that we were very low. So these heights that we've reached are not new by any means for this stock. Just looking back a year ago, we were at almost $50. So we are going to be drawing some lines on this chart to determine where we might see some strong resistance from the institutions, because they're going to be trying to push this thing back at some certain key points, is my expectation, right? Probably around $20, because we have seen this act as both a support level in the past over here and a resistance level over here when we tried rallying after the most recent dump that we've experienced. We did try rallying, and $20 is where we got turned around. So it's very likely, in my opinion, that institutions around the $20 level will try to scare out traders, not necessarily the short squeezers, right? The short squeezers tend to have diamond hands, especially when they involve the Reddit and Wall Street Bets community. However, institutions will likely be trying to shake out some traders who are just looking to scalp this thing, take some profits quick at $20, because traders recognize this as a key level and will likely be getting shaken out there. So that's something that I would watch out for at the very least. And, potentially, if I'm looking to hold this thing over the long term, wouldn't be discouraged from seeing, right? If this thing bounced off 20 for a little bit, because that's kind of what I'm expecting to happen. Now, it's not guaranteed, of course, but that is something that we should watch out for. Now, another level that I could see acting as a kind of fierce resistance is probably near the all-time highs around 48. You see that we really struggled to break past that in the past, and that's most likely going to act as a fierce resistance. If we end up getting up that high, if the squeeze can take us that high, I would not be surprised, right? Because if you look at the Ortex data, we still see 53% of the float is shorted, and this has actually increased by 4% just today. So it looks like more shorts are piling on. So they might have to start covering, right? The new ones who are entering today, they might have to start covering if this thing ends up going up even higher to around $38, $40, $50. That's when a new squeeze essentially could start, right? This thing could just keep rotating more shorts in, and then those shorts have to get squeezed out eventually. Obviously not to infinity, but to very high prices, this could be going on, especially when you look at the options activity. Okay, so we have talked about the short squeeze. Now we're going to talk about the potentiality for a gamma squeeze. And the way that I always like to go about that is looking at the open interest call options for near-term strike dates. So September 17th is the closest strike date that we have, and you can actually see that there's quite a bit of open interest options activity. Now, a lot of these price targets were just hit today because if you look at the chart, you can see that we were down. Yesterday, we closed around $11. So we actually just activated, we just triggered the $12.50 calls, the $15 calls, and potentially soon we'll be triggering the $17.50 calls. So what we're looking at here is about 10,000 and 8,000 new open interest call options that just got activated. And that means essentially that these call options are now in the money, and that institutions who have sold those call options will have to buy shares of the stock back to cover these call positions that they've opened, because they've sold these contracts and they have an obligation to whoever's holding the call contracts to own shares of the stock so that they can hand those shares to them at the strike date. Now, that actually creates upward momentum in the stock price. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy when you see a bunch of these call options being sold, and especially, there are 9,000 additional ones at 25, 3,000 at 20, 2,700 at 22.50. When you see all of these being sold and this stock price starts moving up, it actually creates even more momentum in the stock price, because that's when institutions have to start covering their call options that they've sold by buying up shares of the stock, further increasing the stock price. So that's another catalyst that we're looking at that could be moving up this stock, especially starting tomorrow probably, right? Because this just got hit today, and we're only in about the first hour of trading. The markets haven't even been open for a full hour yet. It's only 10:15. So these 18,000 call options have not actually been in the money until just today. Now, that's going to be potentially starting tomorrow, some very heavy upwards pressure, and continuing with that, right? We're up 44% today. If we end the day very high, a lot of shorts might begin to start covering, because 44% is absolutely massive to be making in one day, and they realize probably that this thing hasn't fully taken off on the internet, on Reddit and Wall Street Bets, and that it most likely will. After seeing a massive gain like we have today, I think a lot of people are going to take interest in it, and that could be very good for the stock price overall. So that's what I have for you guys today on ATER. It looks very promising to me, and I may get involved with this myself. Obviously, you guys have to make your own decision on that, and this isn't financial advice, but if you're interested in liking the video and subscribing to the channel, I would really appreciate it. And I will mention that there is a Webull referral link that you can use in the description to get 2 free stocks valued up to $2,300. If you want to do that, that's up to you. Get some free stocks. You don't have to deposit any money to get the first free stock. Other than that, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and have a great day. Bye.